Be sure to subscribe for more content.
What is up, ladies and gents? Welcome to the BigBC Finance Channel, and I hope you're having a very lovely day. So in today's video, we're going to be talking all about Trust Wallet token, what has happened to it recently, why we saw this drop in price, and where we think the price is going to go to in the near future. So be sure to stay tuned for all of that. And of course, if you appreciate the daily analysis on this channel and you're one of the 86% of people that watch my videos that are not yet subscribed, be sure to hit the subscribe button. So without further ado, let's talk about Trust Wallet token. And recently, if you've been following the charts, you would have seen this dramatic drop here on Trust Wallet token, basically. And up until that point, the prices here on Trust Wallet token have been going in a very nice upwards direction. As you can see, if I just zoom out and zoom out and zoom out, you can see the direction of the trend here has just been bullish for literally the past few months on Trust Wallet token, but now we've seen a very massive drop just seemingly out of the blue. So that was literally a 19% in the downwards direction. We found some consolidation at this $2.40 mark, but still much lower than they were earlier today at $2.64. So what was the reason for this drop? Well, and basically the reason for this drop is because of this chart pattern that we had seen here on Trust Wallet token. So if we connect the lows of the price as they were heading in this upwards direction here on Trust Wallet token, and if we connect the highs of the price going in this upwards direction on the Trust Wallet token, we can see that we have some sort of channel here bound by these two lines. They're both heading in the upwards direction, and those lines are converging into each other. So this pattern here is some sort of rising wedge, and a rising wedge is a bearish chart pattern. And not only is it bearish, it has a pretty well defined price target. So a price target from such a pattern is the first test of support and resistance, the distance between them. So we just grab our measuring tool, we just measure it from the first test of the resistance, first test of support down here. We drag this measuring tool, and what we actually see is pretty stunning. We see that price target from this rising wedge here upon the breakout of the price below this blue line here is pretty much perfectly met due to this rising wedge pattern. And this is why we pay attention to things like this, because sometimes like this it makes for an amazing trade. So we literally saw this happen. We saw prices get down to $2.10, but within the same hour come back up to around $2.40. So an amazing rising wedge pattern that came up here on Trust Wallet token was the reason we saw this quick drop in price. And of course, if you did manage to trade that, if you spotted this rising wedge, then congratulations to you. So let's talk about where we think Trust Wallet token is going to head to from here. Now, and so the first thing I want to see really from this Trust Wallet token, in order for us to reclaim this bullish trend, is for this 100-hour moving average to be recaptured. Basically, this is a good determinant of trend here on Trust Wallet token, and it's this line here that kind of determines whether it's bullish or bearish. If we're bullish, the price typically stays above this blue wiggly line here, but if we're bearish, prices tend to stay underneath. And throughout most of December here on Trust Wallet token, the prices have been well above this blue moving average, this 100-hour moving average. Now we've just shot down below, and so what I want to see is prices reclaim this $2.56 mark. Obviously this will adjust because we're on the 1 hour chart, so if prices hover in this area, then this moving average will get lower and lower. But at the moment it's $2.56, so we want to see these prices reclaim this level in order for us to be bullish. And of course that is going to affect what is going to happen by tomorrow. Then that is going to give Trust Wallet token a little bit more momentum in the upwards direction when the inflation data comes out. And that's going to have a big effect, in my opinion, as to what Trust Wallet token does. And the reason for that is because cryptos all typically behave in a very similar way when macroeconomic data comes out. So if we get an inflation rate report, then we typically see a move, then we typically see prices move in Bitcoin and other altcoins. And basically, if Bitcoin makes some sort of major move, then we will see that reflected in Trust Wallet token as well. Of course, the major exception was this massive pump that we saw due to the FTX fallout. But generally speaking, what we will see is that when that inflation rate data comes out, we'll see cryptos behave in a similar way. So at 2:30 p.m. my time, we're going to get a figure for the inflation rate data. So if we go into trading economics, we can see that we've got core inflation and inflation coming out tomorrow. And basically, we have this previous figure for core inflation at 6.3%, inflation rate at 7.7%, and we have a consensus for both these figures. Now, the consensus is 6.1% for core inflation and 7.3% for normal inflation. And if the number comes out larger than either one of these two, so let's say core inflation rate is 6.5% or inflation rate is like 7.5%, then that is going to be higher than this number here, and that would be extremely bad. If that were to happen, then we should see Trust Wallet token head in a downwards direction. And if we see inflation rate better than expected, so let's say this number is 5.9% for core inflation and 7% for inflation, then we should see Trust Wallet token pump. And so it's really important if you are trading Trust Wallet token to see what inflation does tomorrow. And just to show you what happened with Trust Wallet token with the last inflation rate report that came out, it was literally the 10th of November all the way down here. So basically it came out, if I'm not mistaken, around this period here. And what we saw was this little rally. It doesn't look like it's very much here because this pump after the FTX fallout dwarfs this little bit, but it's still a 12% pump here on Trust Wallet token. So basically in November, so when that inflation came out, it was better than expected. The number was lower than what the consensus was, so we saw that 12% pump. And of course, if we translate that into what this might look like today, a 12% pump would take the prices back in line with where they were before this little crash here, so $2.69. But of course, if the inflation rate is worse than expected, then we can expect the prices from this point here to head back down to its low at $2.11. And of course, it all depends on what Trust Wallet token does throughout the rest of today before we get that inflation rate data. So, you know, I would expect Trust Wallet token, to be honest, just to kind of consolidate in a pattern like this before the data comes out. But of course, if we start heading upwards throughout the end of today, then we'd have to adjust those price targets accordingly. So we get to say $2.50 by the end of the day, then, you know, the price target on the upside would become slightly higher, maybe $2.80 or $2.25 on the downside. But again, if prices do continue its leg down on Trust Wallet token, that makes the bearish price target lower and the bullish price target lower as well. So that's something also to bear in mind. So those are two potential price targets to come from when this inflation rate comes out at 2:30 tomorrow. Of course, what we're also doing is monitoring what Bitcoin does, because Bitcoin, again, influences what other altcoins such as Trust Wallet token do. Not perfectly, as we've shown before, but to some degree. And of course, at the moment on Bitcoin, things are looking quite bearish because of this chart pattern, similar to what I showed you on Trust Wallet token. Have a look at the relative similarity here. We've seen this kind of rising wedge go up on Bitcoin as well as Trust Wallet token, and now Bitcoin seems like it is broken down below this Trust Wallet token. We've seen a brief retest of this support line from this rising wedge, but if the price target is to be met, that will take the prices of Bitcoin down to around $15,400. And of course, if Bitcoin heads to that region down there, then Trust Wallet token will probably follow suit and head down back down to the $2.11 mark. Additionally as well, the inflation rate data will definitely influence the outcome of this rising wedge. If it is worse than expected, then I do believe that will be the momentum Bitcoin needs to make its move down to this 15,400 mark. But if inflation is better than expected, we could see this rising wedge invalidated and Bitcoin heading higher as well. So of course, whatever Bitcoin does, in summary, will reflect in what Trust Wallet token does. So if Bitcoin heads up, we're going to see the same with Trust Wallet token, and if Bitcoin heads down, the same will happen to Trust Wallet token. So it's pretty exciting stuff, because there's going to be a lot of volatility, there's going to be a lot of price moves here in cryptos in general, and therefore it's going to be a great time to make some awesome trades. So I'm going to be really on the ball tomorrow when the inflation rate comes out. If it's worse than expected, of course we're going short, and if it's better than expected, of course we are going long. But that's pretty much a summary of what I have to say here on Trust Wallet token. I do believe this price drop was because of its rising wedge here. And in terms of a price prediction, I'm kind of more looking at what the inflation rate data will do, because that alone will probably move the price of Trust Wallet token 10% in either direction, depending on whether it's worse or better than expected. So that is kind of my main focus here on Trust Wallet token. So that's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching. If you did like this video, if you found it helpful, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. But otherwise, again, thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video.